Hello everybody and welcome to the Real Housewives Edit. My name is Elle and I'm here to talk about the two loves of my life, editing and housewives. Oh my gosh, you guys, I just released a video called The 7 Types of Housewives and I'm actually really nervous to release it because it's so random. I was watching the final cut yesterday and I was like, what am I even doing? But I released it and I want you guys to go check it out. If you don't like it, just go to sleep, go to sleep. Today we are going to be covering a scene in the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Last week they didn't have a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, so I had high hopes for this week. I'm still continually being disappointed by Beverly Hills, even though I'm still kind of loving this season. I think a lot of you are sharing the same frustrations. There are so many storylines that we want to see play out, but cast members that shall not be named are keeping things so tight to the chest. No one wants to let the real issues come out. It's so highly frustrating as a viewer, but still, we come back.
I am loyal to all my friends.
Today we are going to be watching this scene. It was a really hard scene to watch. Pretty dark, but you know, fun to break apart. So let's get down to it.
Why did Garcelle unfollow Eric on Instagram?
Really? Again? Kyle, hello. Can we talk about anything other than who follows me and unfollows me on the Instagram?
Why'd you unfollow Eric on Instagram?
Because it was a joke. Is that important? I was just teasing.
I am 51. I'm not 14, 13, 12. Like, who gives a shit?
Because she called.
So first of all, we know that she does care because they get into it. But all of that aside, from an editing perspective, right? It starts out where Kyle's asking this question. They've been doing this Ouija board stuff, and Kyle asks the question,
why did Garcelle unfollow Eric on Instagram?
It's quiet when she asks the question, and then it kind of comes into this music.
Really? Again?
If you guys have been watching my videos for a while, you know that the music is definitely there to cue us on how we are supposed to feel or what we are supposed to expect to come up. So this music with a little bit of energy, it's got a little bit of a beat to it. It's definitely telling us like some stuff is about to go down. It takes us through all of Erica's confessional and even the flashback, you know, Kyle asking the same pot stirring question on that private plane.
Because she called me a liar.
Well, she just answered. She didn't even need Ouija.
I said she was lying when she said she cared about me.
Not because of that, because you said I was.
And I just want you guys to note here that the music was pulled out. So it was there during the confessional while Erica's kind of going off on how Kyle's, you know, doing this again. But as soon as Garcelle answers the question, the music stops completely.
Because she called me a liar.
I always like to liken this to taking the air out of the room. If you have a lot of music going and then all of a sudden the music stops, like everything's quiet, everyone's waiting for Garcelle to respond, and it's definitely cueing us as the audience. Garcelle's about to respond and the tension is high.
You said I was trying to bring the narrative that you were drinking when you were actually controlling the narrative. I mean.
Yeah, but you'd also repeated it to Dorit, and when she didn't jump on it, you got mad at her. And when you repeated it to Kyle and she said, no, I don't think so.
Okay, that reaction shot where they showed Garcelle and they have Kathy sitting next to her and she's just so over this topic. That's definitely a relatable moment. They definitely left that reaction shot in there for a reason. They could have chosen any other moment where Kathy's just sitting next to Garcelle, but they definitely chose that shot because honestly, that's kind of how we're feeling about all of this as well.
You disagreed with her.
Garcelle started talking about you and alcohol and drinking.
You were repeating it, yeah?
Yeah, but I also repeated it to you.
When?
When we had drinks. Last couple of times I saw you, you were a little tipsy.
Oh, I wasn't tipsy, I was blacked out.
And why?
Medicine, and thinking I could drink on it, just like this.
Calling me a liar.
Okay, so if you watched my last episode on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, a lot of us had this same sentiment. Why didn't the editors flash back to that dinner between Garcelle and Erica where Garcelle actually, you know, confronts Erica on it? We got our answer here in this episode right here, is that they actually wanted to wait to use that flashback for this scene, maybe just because they wanted this scene to be more dramatic, maybe because they wanted us to be frustrated last week that Garcelle couldn't get get her point made or that they didn't show any receipts of it. So it's actually just a good lesson for us that sometimes the editors do hold back flashbacks because they want to use them for the most impactful time. And they thought, you know, this would be a very impactful time when Erica's going after Garcelle again about this same topic.
I was really hurt being called a liar. I was emotional about it, and I did something about it. And that was to unfollow her. That's it.
Can I just say one thing? Look, to call somebody a liar, I hate that word.
Deal.
I have three things: a liar, a thief.
Okay, so I thought that was an interesting cut right there. Kathy said, can I say one thing, right? She comes in and she sort of, there's a close-up on her as she's saying it, and then they cut to, I've got three things. I just know that she said a lot more in between there because the cut was kind of weird and it kind of didn't really flow the way that normally a conversation would flow. I have this feeling that Kathy does a lot of like, she's trying to deflect conversations away from stuff that she's exasperated by, and so she tends to ramble, I think, a little bit, but I think they cut out a lot of the rambling and got to this funny line that's about to come up.
Thief and a pedophile. To me,
What? Well, I've been called 2 out of the 3. I don't know about the other one.
call me whatever. I'm just
Right,
saying
and
those
so
are
what's the-
really
right.
three things.
Like liar and thief, I totally get it. Pedophile? I mean, it's for...
So that little line, leaving that in there with Kathy, they didn't really need to have that in there, but they did need to break the tension. Remember, the tension is building. Erica and Garcelle are at it again with this same conversation, making Garcelle feel like she's crazy, although I just think that she's kind of in the right here. And then they need to break the tension, so they use Kathy's comic relief to break the tension. You can see it with the reaction shots of all the ladies. All of them are laughing. All of them are kind of like, oh my gosh, Kathy is so funny. And it just kind of breaks down the moment. We talk about contrast a lot. They can't just have it be tension, 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 because audiences tend to break the tension themselves if they don't get a break. So they have to throw in something to break the tension themselves, them being the editors.
pretty extreme. I don't like to be called a pedophile. I don't like anyone to be called a pedophile.
Erica, we don't have to be friends.
Oh, that's okay.
Great.
That's fine.
Great.
I thought that was a really strange cut too, because I feel like there was a little bit more to this conversation before Garcelle said that. It kind of feels like Garcelle said that totally out of the blue.
Erica, we don't have to be friends.
I just feel like there was a little bit more of a lead up to that. I do think she is totally done with Erica after all of this stuff that's led up to this. So maybe that wasn't a weird cut, but it just felt a little bit weird to me.
Yeah, we don't have to be friends.
Great. Great.
Yeah, it's not all kumbaya.
No. I'm good with that.
Good, me too.
Last year, remember when you made a point to unfollow Rena and me, and you knew
Because
when
I was hurt after the reunion.
you had your reason. I get that. Okay, you were hurt. But then Sutton says today it was a joke. That's a joke. But with who?
Between us.
They laughed and Erica. So you guys.
It's like, Kyle, we just got through this. They already like resolved that they're not going to be friends. Can we move on? Why are we doing this? Last night, I sat in the kitchen for about 5 minutes and talked about all of my frustrations about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills with my husband, and he literally just gave me the look. You guys know, the look. There are so many bigger problems going on in this franchise. I want to hear about the lawsuits. I want to hear about the home invasion stuff. I want to hear about the DUI. I want to hear about the husband. I want to hear about all of this stuff brewing underneath the surface, but we keep going down to these little issues. I don't need them to get rid of these women. I just need more people to crack open a little bit of what's going on. I don't want to see people going skiing or whatever. I'm not here for that. I need an escape from my life. Okay. Let's move on.
You guys sat together and said, ha ha ha, I think it's funny, I'm gonna unfollow Erica. That's just, I don't get that.
I don't really understand what is going on with Kyle right now. We all have frivolous fights, but I do think that there's a little bit of stirring going on right now.
Okay, so I would just love to see, instead of just some reaction shots from Dorit, I would love to see her come out and say this. Okay, I'm done with my opinion for today. I'm frustrated. It's 105 degrees where I live right now. I'm 8.5 months pregnant. I'm really sorry, you guys. I am back to just being civilized and talking about the editing.
But by the way, guys, guess what? Nobody cares.
No,
apparently
Don't
they
take
do.
yourself to be so
Apparently they
important.
No, but the point
You're not
is,
that
there's
important.
a reason you do it.
Nobody's that important.
It's not that it's important.
Okay, so those reactions to Kyle were really interesting, right? They cut to Kathy and she sort of like shakes her shoulders. Maybe she's experienced this with Kyle before. And then you get the reaction of Sutton looking over and you get that knife sharpening sound. They want to draw attention that that reaction from Kyle was a little bit out of her normal character that we see. So I thought that was interesting.
It's the intention behind it is what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry to raise my voice, but I get when now that she says she was upset you called her liar, she doesn't want to look at your post. I get that for the week. She explained it now, done. I'm sorry, son. I just didn't get you saying it was funny. It was a
She
joke.
told me see you next Tuesday. I have my opinion.
And I have mine.
But
you're not going to do
about
this.
it like an adult.
I am an adult.
You know what?
What?
It didn't seem like that at that table.
And it didn't, and it felt like you were being a bitchy being.
Then say it's because of that. Then say it's because of that. Don't say.
It's just, okay, I can't. I'm just going to say that flashback was really good. I think the way, I can't do this. I'm trying to leave my opinion out of it, you guys, but I can't.
Because of that. Don't say it's a joke. That's my point. That's my point. Do you not get what I'm saying?
Y'all never even cared about that. None of y'all cared that
No,
she
we're
said
not playing
she
the
had-
victim right now.
No,
I'm
not
talking
playing the
about.
victim.
I'm just
not
talking
playing
about
the victim.
being more honest in the group. Okay, that's where I start to lose respect.
Okay, so let me get back. So here, from an editorial standpoint, what they're really doing, they're showing Kyle, she seems like she's going off the deep end for something that really doesn't concern her whatsoever. She seems like she's trying to direct a TV show, to be honest. But anyway, I just feel like what they're trying to show with the reactions of everyone else is pretty calm in this moment, including Sutton, who's being screamed at for the 500th time this season. Everyone else is kind of sitting there. I think the editors are doing that on purpose. They're literally showing each person in a single shot or in these group shots of everyone calmly looking on as this madness ensues over something so small.
I start to lose respect there because it's a lie and it's bullshit. And
To be
then
honest,
you lose me. Then I'm out and then I'm bored and I can't.
Here's the thing, you gotta
Guys,
just
what
talk
are you
to each
there
other.
for?
I agree.
Being honest. No, everyone's being honest. This week. I'm not going to deal with the lies and bullshit.
We're talking about Instagram right now.
Erica called me a terrible name, and not one of those girls said anything. And now I unfollow her from Instagram, and they have a problem with that?
It's not about Instagram. It's what's underneath it.
So again, what they use during the confessional is they use a little clip of Rinna saying,
It's not about Instagram. It's what's underneath it.
almost like she's responding to the confessional.
I unfollow her from Instagram.
They aren't just confessionals talking to us, but they really use them to kind of drive the narrative of the actual scene.
I haven't heard y'all say one thing to her about calling me a.
But why do we need to?
You are one. What'd she say? But we are what? Wait, don't you go nowhere. Don't you go nowhere. What did you say?
Okay, so that moment, which wow, it was a lot. So what they did there was they did reaction shots of literally everyone in the room, starting with Lisa Rinna, who usually would be right along with Erica. Her reaction is not amused by that comment whatsoever. Maybe you see a tiny little like uncomfortable smile, but I actually just got this feeling that she was like, that's not great. It really sets the tone of like, this was not funny to anyone else. And then they continue to get reaction shots from everyone else around the room and no one else is laughing the way Erica and Diana are. And that's definitely on purpose.
I think hold on. Did you just say that?
She did.
Diana, that's not okay.
So I did see a little moment of Cherie. She was actually laughing there. They had Lisa Rinna's face down and I was wondering if she was laughing, but she actually wasn't. She was like kind of humiliated. Of course, you got Crystal. Everyone else is like, wow, that is super insensitive. And then they keep going back to Diana. They're really building this moment a lot. The laughing, the reactions, the laughing, the reactions. So we as an audience are like, which side are we on, basically?
I hate that word. I hate that word. I hate that word. I don't think there's ever a reason to use that word, especially coming from another woman. I think it's horrible.
I'm having a very difficult time.
So you saw right after that, so there was this big laughing spell. How they kind of got out of that was the music ended.
I think it's horrible.
And then they just have a little shot of Diana sipping, and they also have a shot of Erica sipping. So obviously there was a little bit of time that went from where they were laughing their heads off to them actually just sipping wine. But they made those moments really quiet and uncomfortable where they're actually just sipping wine like they're getting over that.
Because
nobody's standing up for you.
no.
Not everybody can be best friends.
No, that's exactly
but,
right.
like, it wasn't civilized,
That's exactly
so I'm sorry.
right.
But at the same
What are
time,
you talking about?
I just thought the transition out of that laughing moment was so abrupt, and I think they did that on purpose. And I wonder if it was actually that abrupt, or if it took longer to sort of taper off to that, or if there were apologies made. I'm so curious about all that stuff because obviously for time's sake, they can't put every moment in there, so they have to get to the heart of the matter. I'm just curious what kind of went on in there.
I can't stand her, so I always try to keep the physical space.
Yeah.
Like, how actually do you, like, let's say there is a bunch of women in a group, or even you, who you know I like very much, but your best friend I dislike.
Why?
It's just, I watch things, observe things.
So again, they're just using tons of reaction shots from everyone else. Obviously, they show Sutton looking very hurt. It looks like everyone else who's sitting there who saw this interaction go down, they look very hurt and concerned as well, which is causing that uncomfortableness for Diana. We should be getting some sort of good or bad feeling out of seeing Diana sort of scramble to get her words in this moment.
And just the way she does things, it's just not like, ugh, very slithery.
Let's talk like she's in the room because she is. I mean,
Yeah, this is hard.
And you guys saw that reaction shot from Kyle where she looks over when she says it and you get that knife sharpening sound. It's definitely to draw attention to that reaction, which is also supposed to draw our attention like, okay, that reaction actually makes sense. Why is she talking about her like she's not here?
Nobody wants to hear that.
Huh?
no.
Nobody wants to hear it.
Babe, what do you want me to do? You want me to go behind her back and talk behind her back?
I'm just saying it's
Do you
hard.
want me to
She's
hide
a human
it?
being. She's got
I can't.
feelings. I get you have your feelings.
That's the thing. Does she have a feelings? Does she? Does she? She came after me when I was bleeding.
So I thought it was interesting there that they just hung the camera on Diana. They could have gone around the room again and showed more reaction shots, but they just let the camera hang. I know I've talked to you guys about this before with the bad edit. They could have kind of created this edit around Diana and made it worse than it is by showing more reactions and kind of building up the moment more. But what I see them doing a lot in this edit is actually just hanging right on Diana and letting her sort of like dig her own hole, if you will.
After the whole experience, she came after me when I was on a floor. You don't do that. She comes after people when they are like at their weakest. And that's not the way to do it. Why does she do that?
So interestingly enough, they showed more reaction shots. Reet's kind of giving that head nod and some other people are sort of shaking their head like this isn't right. We as an audience could be like, are they all agreeing with Diana? But I would say if the editors and producers were trying to push us to agree with Diana, we would have gotten a beautiful flashback package of Sutton trying to get people while they are down. But unfortunately, I just don't think that they have that. But I do think that like what Diana is saying here is a bit of a stretch and everyone is sort of like, thinking about it. Except maybe Dorit is agreeing with it. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? But
Well, I don't. You can speak up and defend yourself, by the way. And we can all jump in and say.
There's no defending.
But
This is like, listen, there's no defending. I can go
you
now.
guys don't
Like,
have
I'm
to
not
like each other. No.
It's unforgivable. I got out of deathbed to come to Garcelle's birthday party, and she shamed me. It's unforgivable, especially
Were you
since
shaming
she
her?
had 2 miscarriages that she hid from everybody, and I'm the first one to hear it. So if it was such a hard thing to talk about it, why didn't you?
how did I miss that? Oh my gosh. Is she trying to say like, if if it was so bad, why she hide it from everyone? You know, it's interesting. I just put out this video where I was talking about the Housewives types, and I was saying that I don't think that Diana is really like a watchable villain. I'm not saying in that video that she's not a villain, but I do think that like her watchability isn't quite there, and the other side of her, qualities wise, like we're not seeing, and I just feel like she's forcing it a lot, and I just feel like she's just kind of mean. That to me is not a watchable villain.
So I'm sorry, but she knew what she was doing.
I think Sutton is gonna apologize a million times and it all won't really matter. I mean, it's asinine to go in circles like that.
We've had a rough and rocky start, and I'm to blame for, I'm gonna say, 95% of it.
Thank you.
And I'm here. I'm happy to talk about it with you privately, whatever.
Thank you.
Okay?
Okay.
There is a point where you can only defend yourself so much.
So that flashback is obviously to favor Sutton, because she came out and told her like, hey, whenever you want to talk, and it was all my fault and that sort of thing. So yeah, they're definitely skewing the scene towards Sutton. However you feel about either Sutton or Diana, it's just from an editorial standpoint, they are definitely trying to prove Sutton's points more than they are trying to prove Diana's points with receipts and flashbacks and confessionals and reaction shots.
Hey.
Yeah, that's why I'm not even saying it.
No. Diana?
Yeah, love?
Don't leave, honey.
I gotta go, babe. I'm on a skate tomorrow. I don't want to.
Come on, go. It's time.
Can I have my leg?
Where is it?
That was not okay. That was not okay.
Let her go.
Diana left my house, I'm thinking, oh wow, she's gonna give Sutton a chance. This is the next chance. But, I mean, I think with Diana, words, actions are completely different. I would go.
Stop.
And now Kyle's comforting Sutton. Okay. All right, Kyle.
I'm not being dramatic, I just had enough. That's a lot.
Sometimes it's hard to speak your mind in this group. People get upset, they're emotional. This was not intentional. But Diana, she's saying what she thinks and feels. Someone can say she's being mean, but I can respect her being honest.
You and your crocodile tears.
That's just so interesting that that was the confessional that they decided to use of Kyle. I guess it was the only appropriate one because she was talking about this moment, but wow. That is a good example of the editors and producers have set up this moment to sort of favor Sutton, and then they put a confessional in of Kyle that kind of puts her on the wrong side of history. What do you guys think?
That's a lot. That's a lot.
I'm not being dramatic.
I don't care who you are. Nobody wants to hear that. Next time on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Wow, okay you guys, so that scene was so crazy to me. They used just a lot of reaction shots and the lack of flashbacks to kind of push us in one direction or the other. I think that what they're trying to do storyline wise is really build Diana as this villain, but again, I've talked to you guys before, I just don't think of her as like a really strong villain because she has no context. We don't really care about her in other aspects of her life. She doesn't seem very strong the way that she wants to come off. So I do think that they're really trying to build this new villain in Diana by pushing the narrative that way, but I don't know, what do you guys think? I would love to hear your opinions. I'm sorry I put in so many opinions today. It's just very hot. I am very pregnant, but I am so excited to be here with you guys. Thank you so much again for 600 subscribers. I hope you go watch my Housewives types video and let me know all of your thoughts because I'm so curious about your thoughts. And until next time.
I'm literally miserable.